Welcome to Tutoring Tuesday, where we answer all of your high school related questions. If you would like to be featured on next week's Tutoring Tuesday, please submit your questions to questions@academicgurusinc.com. In today's question, we'll be solving a variable relationship question. It's a question that was posed by Cool Cat Cutie. So we'll go ahead and solve that. The question reads, relationship A has a greater rate than relationship B. The table represents relationship B. Which equation could represent relationship A? Choose all answers that are correct. So she has here hours worked and the amounts paid. And the easiest way to approach this question is to understand the relationship between the two variables. The two variables in this case being hours worked and amount paid. Now, Cool Cat Cutie, think of this as a summer job that you might have had in the past. The amount of money that you would have been paid was determined by your wage multiplied the number of hours you would have worked. So the amount paid equals wage times hours worked. Let's say the amount paid is represented by the letter or variable y, which is equal to the wage multiplied by the hours worked x. The question has given you the hours worked x and the amount paid y, but what you don't have is the wage w. If we go back to the multiple choice options, you can see that by solving for w, you will be able to determine which of the four options is the correct answer. That is the only variable. X and y are the same or constant for both A, B, C, and D. So let's go ahead and solve for w. In order to solve for w or isolate it, we have to get rid of the x. Since x is multiplying w, we have to divide x from both sides of the equation. Since x divided by x is simply 1, so we can rewrite this question y divided by x equals w times 1, which is simply w. Since we know that y represents the amount paid and x the hours worked, which are two variables for which the numbers have been given in the equation above, we can simply take the numbers 2 for hours worked, for example, and plug that number into the variable x and use the amount paid that corresponds to the hours worked, which in this case $30.40, to solve for w. So let's rewrite this question as $30.40 divided by 2, which simply equals 15. Now if you go back to your multiple choice options, you can see that 15.2 is one of the option B. Now Cool Cat Cutie, if you were writing a test and you wanted to be absolutely sure that this is the correct question, you could plug 2 into the variable x and see whether it solves for y $30.40. If we write y equals 15.2 times 2, you will find that it is in fact $30.40. So there you have it, Cool Cat Cutie. I hope that was helpful. If you are a student and would like your question to be featured on next week's Tutoring Tuesday, please submit your questions to questions@academicgurusinc.com.